July 2nd and 3rd, Tuesday and Wednesday, and there's an eclipse coming. Dun, da, da, da. July 2nd, not to mention July 4th's on its way, but this eclipse is meaningful. Why? Because the sun and the moon are both in Cancer. I cherish these people. I know Cancer gets a bad write-up. They're too moody, they're whiners, they have all these kids, they take their time, they live inside their own house, they don't come out, they're so mushy, they're so vulnerable. I had a student once raise his hand to Cancer, and he was like, can you tell me one good thing about Cancer? I'm sick of being this sign. And I was like, you're a healer, but you're resisting your human nature, that you don't like your personality because it's sensitive. That's the wrong answer. Beep, wrong answer. So during this eclipse, this is always what we do during eclipses. We pay attention to the flavor, double Cancer, and then we ask ourselves, what could I do to mark this time? Because you'll remember, I remember the last eclipse when it was in Cancer, which was about 3 years ago. And I said to myself, you know what I'm going to do? And it really worked. I used to have an emotional body, can't see it. Anyway, I used to have an emotional body that was very, very sensitive. And it came with a low-grade depression that didn't really like being in a body. I'm telling you all this because I changed it on an eclipse. And I was working with a healer on eclipse, and I said, I remember right where I was, because that's what you do during eclipses. And I said, I am choosing to be here. I want to be in a body, and I'm going to stop whining and complaining. So every time I'd hear my internal dialogue go, I want to go home, I don't like this planet, I go, Deborah, really? That is such a dippy, broken record. You've made a decision on the eclipse. So I'm going to invite you. What's your relationship with life? How much do you like being in a body? If it's not tingling, this is Cancer. If it's not tingling, if it's not happy, if it doesn't sing when you have a good cup of coffee or a glass of wine, or it doesn't feel delicious when you're eating chocolate, something's wrong. Because Cancer's deal is they love being in a body. If you're not having fun being in a body, it's because you've overeaten, or you've gotten grumpy, or you've got baggage from your childhood, or you haven't healed, and double Cancer is the quintessential healer. That's what happens when you hear the word Cancer. Immediately go to the doctor, you change your diet, you call your best friends, and you ask for help. I'm going to suggest during this eclipse, you look at your own body and you say, how am I treating this cute little temple of mine, or this ugly little temple of mine? How can I rewrite the story? That's what I would do during this eclipse, July 2nd. Because July 4th is coming and you're going to pig out and drink too much and get crazy. So before that happens, let's take advantage of Sun and Moon in Cancer. And by the way, Mars just entered Leo. Bye-bye, Cancer. So we've had another month left behind us of Mars in Cancer. It's now entering Leo. So this is our last moment to say, emotionally, I love being human. And even when I'm vulnerable and it really hurts and I'm really sad or I'm disappointed in myself, it still means I'm alive. And being human, so far as I hear it, is the best thing going on here, since there's nothing else going on here. Get my point? Astrology Answers gave me a long conversation about this eclipse to say to you, check in with your emotional body and your relationship with being in the body and see if you can rewrite it. And remember, from now on, 2019 on July 2nd, I made a decision. That eclipse really had meaning for me. And tell me what it is. P.S. What is an eclipse? When the sun and the moon are in the same spot, there is no reflection. It's a perfect dark night. It's a marker in history all across time. They knew when the eclipses were coming, and they would mark them as a signifier that something important was about to happen. And then they used the sign to indicate it. So it's a dark sky. Time to go in and ask yourself those questions.